And we're going to start discussing Fulton Park flood
Well,
mitigation.
may I just say that the Fulton Park group are unable to make it, so we'll be rescheduling with them. But I think that an overview from town, county, and state, we've got representatives of each are here, so that we can get an overview of how we are handling flooding in general, and more specifically Fulton Park. So please.
So I think Garrett's in the back. He's the host of the Zoom.
Did you want to invite our guest up to the table?
Oh, did
Yeah,
you?
that'd be good.
Okay,
No,
I'm
that'd be
sorry.
a great idea.
Okay, would you like to come to the table, please?
And
Thank
then
you.
if we could just introduce our guests, I'm sure they're famous. We have enough chairs. Not too many chairs.
And if everyone would please give their names and where they're from, that would be greatly appreciated, including our Greenburgh staff.
And would you like the lights? Okay. Just push the button.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay. Assemblywoman MaryJane Shimsky, 92nd Assembly District.
Jewel Williams Johnson, District 8, Westchester County Board of Legislators.
Dean Tarulli, Director of Flood Mitigation and Resilience, Westchester County.
Dean, can you pull closer?
Closer.
How's that?
Yes, if you could just.
Dean Tarulli, Director of Flood Mitigation and Resilience.
Richard Fahn, Commissioner of Public Works, Town of Greenburgh.
C.J. Gilardo, Deputy Town Engineer for the Town of Greenburgh.
Paul Finer, Town Supervisor.
Lisa Nero, Greenburgh Town Clerk.
We don't have to introduce each other. We don't need to. Yeah, we just introduce our guests. Thank you, okay.
I think everyone knows who we
Well,
are.
so who's going to start the presentation?
Well, I think I'll talk about the problem.
Okay.
All right, so Old Kensico Road during storm events is impacted by flooding. The property past Old Kensico, goes onto Westchester County Parkland. So there's been discussion. I know Jewel was very active in getting the county Parks Department to go out and clean out that area. The Planning Department was talking about I think the future and the planning of that area, another kind of cleanup. Past that, I would turn it over to them. We do have video that we could show you of the area. I think the Garrett DeCane's got it queued
I
up.
don't know if anyone's clear on what area of town we're speaking of, so I think if you could just.
Fulton Park, all right, so this is Old Kensico.
Rich, I'm going to put up I'm going to share screen with a aerial photo.
Thank you, sir.
And then if it's helpful for you to just walk through the geography there.
It's near the county center
Right.
for people who.
It's off 119.
Okay, if you would like me to pan to different areas, I can do so, but right here, just for frame of reference, we have Route 119 and Old Kensico Road as it comes into the circular intersection here, and then you've got the stormwater system that traverses underneath Kensico Road and heads in a westerly direction to the Bronx River. So I'll leave it there, Rich.
Absolutely. And Garrett, can you just point out that pipeline area? That long rectangular strip right there, right next to the Verizon building. Yep. That's all the parkland there, right behind the residences. You just went past it, sorry. Right, you just had the cursor on it. That right there. All right, that's the pipeline. So that is a mounded area that is a berm in the backyards of the residents along that area and has piping. There is a culvert under it at one point where it becomes county parkland, and that's where Jewel was very active about getting that cleaned up. And past there, it goes to county property. And Garrett, if you could bring up that video.
Rich, I'll just make
Oh, sorry.
one correction. The burn that perpendiculates the culvert right, all that area, the burn and where it perpendics is actually the Department of Environmental Facilities.
Right.
Can I ask you a question? The people who are complaining about the flooding, it's mainly the people on Old Kensico Road?
There's other areas, but there's other situations.
Right, but it's
But
really,
this-
this is
that
really,
area, yes.
Old Kensico Road is the area that we're really focusing on.
Old Kensico Road is the more complex aspect of it. There are various smaller issues, much, if not all, the commissioner can correct me, are town property. However, some of it generates from other properties.
I'm just wondering if you could, for the people who are watching this, like say, identify some streets that might also be of interest. So this way, when people watch this, they could say, oh, we're really trying to address Old Kensico Road. If there's a couple extra streets,
There's Stone, there's Kent, that area. There's been some individual issues that the town is looking to correct.
okay,
This is a more global issue for the area.
right, okay.
Okay, so Commissioner Fong, would you like me to do the video now?
Please.
Okay.
This video is compliment to Commissioner of Parks and Recreation, Joe Lucchese.
Can you all see the video?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So you gonna walk us through the video?
Yeah, this is Joe just sightseeing.
I can't.
He is. All right, I'll spin around in a minute. Okay, so that's the Manhattan Brook. This is going in the opposite direction at this point. And this is the responsibility of the town of Greenburgh to maintain. There's an easement through there. Amanda with the town attorney's office did a lot of research in the area and
You've been
came
doing
up.
a lot of work on Manhattan Brook, right?
We're doing a lot of work as we speak. So this is the
Mention
area.
what we're doing on Manhattan.
Why don't we talk about that after? So this is the area that's been the most concern for the people on Old Kensico. That is the pipeline in there. That area at this point, I believe, is cleaned out. Past that point, you then go on to the county parkland property. And you can see some of the siltation and some of the blockages in there. But this is the area where this Old Kensico ultimately flows into. And you got the historic Taconic Parkway there.
The Bronx River Parkway,
Sorry, Bronx River Parkway. Got my commute home on my mind.
that the county is responsible for.
They are, and this is all county property. And the planning department at one point had said this was the next area that they were going to be studying. I think they've done 2 other areas on the Bronx River, which were very successful projects. Dave Kavinga in the planning department had knowledge of the area. He, in fact, said some of the islands here used to be pond areas. But this just gives you an overall, kind of look at the path that it takes.
So Commissioner, what does that mean for the residents? So this is great, we
Well,
see the
right,
Manhattan
so,
Brook, so
again-
what are we telling the residents?
What is, we hope is going to be looked at is this is the next project for the county to help alleviate, if possible, some of the active flooding that takes place on Old Kensico.
So we're going to be asking the county to do a study?
Well, I think the county themselves are looking at it.
The county's studying the problem and going to come up with some short-term and long-term, like remediation efforts, is that the goal?
Well, let's back up a minute.
Go ahead.
Because of the complaints, 1 being the flooding, 2 being the illegal dumping, and 3 being the broken fence, the Department of Environmental Facilities went in and cleaned up all the overgrown weeds and whatnot, so their contractor could come in and clean out the culvert, which was one of the major complaints. So that was done at the end of August. They are setting up a maintenance schedule to do so every other month or every 3 months, so there's no buildup. And they're also bidding out to re-erect the fencing around, so people can't, and I think it was especially landscapers that would come and dump their trimmings in the area. The Solid Waste Commission also has an eye on it to catch anyone dumping, and I'll let Dean take over from the point that there is an existing capital project that, you're right, Commissioner Fawn, that Dave Kavinga notified us of, where they did indicate that there were used to be ponds that may help with the flooding. So they, Dean will, and I and David will meet again about incorporating some additional funds into that project.
Can you
look into
explain
that.
ponds, retention ponds, I assume? Yes, or?
I cannot explain. I just said that they are ponds.
Commissioner Truly.
And
I would tell you more. I have yet to look at that exact plan, but it's definitely a good idea to put retention basins in the Bronx River Parkway. That's
Right,
part of the
and
plan
there,
we're looking at.
but when you're referring to ponds, I'm assuming that you're referring to what had been some retention
if they
ponds
were
that maybe can be reinstated?
that's the hope, but I don't know if they were natural or if they were actually built, created as retention ponds. I'm not sure of that, but we'll
And-
definitely find out.
And in addition to the fencing, there's natural debris, whether it's tree branches, overgrown weeds
Lots
and
of
things.
branches,
But
yeah.
there are a lot of, you can drive past any one of our local rivers and see lots of bottles bobbing. That's besides construction debris. And some, people have found dishwashers and tires, and so they block. And if you'll explain what a culvert is, that would be helpful.
Yeah, that was the two concrete openings under the pipeline. And what the planning department, I think, had found through old photos, that the county has great old photos on the website, were these areas that were ponds that over time silted up.
Yeah.
It's no different than David talking about some of the flood zones or flood areas that have developed over time. That all contributes to this.
But can you explain to Commissioner what a culvert is for those who might not?
It's basically, I'll call it a pipe. It's just a large opening to allow the water to flow under that berm. So it again allows
Under
the
a roadway.
roadway, it could be
some
a
piece of
bridge,
land or a bridge.
anything
Okay.
like that. And we've been going, not just here, but around town. That's probably a better question for you. We've been going around town and now really highlighting where these are and getting the appropriate parties to clean up, or town staff or our outside consultant.
I think that what Jewel has been doing has been really excellent,
Absolutely.
because you've been following up and, for the first time, we now have a maintenance, plan, and I know that they've been removing the obstructions, so, I really want to commend you for your follow-up and your persistence. And so it seems like the county is really doing a lot, to help. And I know Assemblywoman Shimsky, you got some funding, and could you maybe mention how we could use the funding to help reduce the problem?
Okay, at this point for the year 2024, we have allocated $250,000 in CREST funding. That funding, as I understand it, is going to be dedicated to the Manhattan Brook area. Now, with Fulton Park, there are several steps along the way. The first one is getting everything cleaned out. Part of that is the county's job because they're in control of the Bronx River. We've heard the progress report there. The sewers the catch basins, the water coming from up the hill. Those are pretty much town functions, and that's going to pretty much be up to you. Now, I also understand that the town does have the county does have some studies that have already been done in the area. There is going to have to be at least some parsing of those studies to determine which steps to take as far as building new infrastructure. And assuming we get CREST funding next year, there is a possibility that we can allocate some toward Fulton Park as well to do whatever has to be done with the catch basins, and as well making sure that the stormwater sewers are, number one, in proper shape, and number two, that the pipes are big enough to handle the flow, which we all know is getting worse as a result of climate change.
Assemblywoman, for these grants, what is the match from the town? Is there a match, or is it?
The state funds don't require a match.
Okay.
In order to get county funding, because there is county funding available for stormwater management projects under the 2011 law, the town needs a match, but the town, for example, could use the state funding to qualify as the match to leverage county funding and therefore get funding from two sources.
But I'm sort of like, I sort of feel, we're doing the maintenance. I know you said, could you identify, just say what we've basically done in Manhattan?
So far?
Yeah.
So our highway department has been aggressively out vacuuming out every basin, cleaning every pipe, not just in this area, but throughout the town. We actually have a truck on order that we've been waiting a few years for, so we did go out and rent one. But it's been out very aggressively cleaning these areas. We are now boots on the ground, pulling out any debris, vegetation from the Manhattan Book in the areas that we have an easement. This has been going on for, I want to say, about a month now. And you can see it when you drive up, take a look at it. If you go up Manhattan Avenue, it's very clear. There's been some tree clearing, and you've got two crews actively in there cleaning it out. And this is going on throughout the town, not just in this area. We have another situation that I know MaryJane is very familiar with, the Sawmill River, right? And we did Peter, Asp, and Terrence did a whole video of that. So we are really, really getting boots on the ground, looking at these situations. There's other county programs they got. I know there's one that's looking at two areas to create retention areas near the Elmsford Little League. And so there's a lot going on right now.
I just,
Before, can I just ask a question? So thank you to Assemblyman Shimsky, County Legislator Drew Williams, Johnson. So I'm going to speak on behalf of the residents, even though they're not here. So we've mentioned timelines, we've mentioned grants, we've been doing a lot of clean outs. Can we have some sort of timeline so at some point that we can, hopefully the residents will see some sort of relief? Because you and I have been on site a couple of times, and we've been talking about cleaning up, and I know that we have been making some progress, but we need to make sure, or I'm sure our residents want to make sure when they're going to see some sort of relief. And if we're talking grant funding, we're already in 2025, because what are we in September already? Almost October. So, I think we need to give some sort of, I know we can't get concrete dates, but at least we can get some sort of roundabout dates of when they can expect something, so they can feel some sort of relief, or at least monitor the progress that's happening.
Again, we're all in the same boat. In this case, the property is not the town's, it's the county's. So, again, and I'm not trying to pass the buck, but this is one we just can't go in and, there's a lot of permitting that's required. There's a lot of planning. I know they've been very active, and Jewel and I have been out there a few times walking it, and MaryJane in the area, and I'm sure we'll be out there with David. It's just, the cleanup's been kind of done. It's getting in there and really digging into the weeds now. And a plan's got to be put in place for that. And I think that's where they're talking about the funding.
Say
So
about
funding
4 or
will
5 years.
identify what's the next steps, like maybe capital projects that,
Yeah, I think David just said, 4 to 5
Dean-
years.
Wait, can
Dean?
you,
About 4 or 5 years.
for what? For the
So
whole?
what does that
What does that mean?
So for just that one stream.
So when we say 4 to 5 years, is that from other agencies getting involved, just it's
That's
outside?
permitting, then there's the bidding process, getting the contractor on board, design.
so in terms of, could
4
you
to
just,
5.
so this, could you just
At
maybe
best.
Wait,
explain
45
what the
from-
capital
from-
budget, yeah.
From initial to completion, 4 to 5 years.
From design to starting the project.
So you're saying 4 to 5 years to start the project?
To be realistic and set expectations the right way.
Oh, it's already been
It's a
60
large
years, so-
project, it's complex, you're dealing with DOT, DEC,
That's-
Army Corps, it's not,
But-
Army Corps alone is probably 1 year, just to.
Used to be 7, right?
Yeah,
So that's the timeline, like something like that, if we can, give a proposed timeline that, from the time that we take a look at and do a survey of what needs to be done, from the time we need to put the RFP, from the time that we get the responses back, to the time that we
Yes.
get all the agencies that you just named in place, I think that's what will be helpful for the residents, so they have an understanding of what the process is.
and that's if everything goes well. And
And
everyone works
again, that's why I
together.
said propose, so.
Can I, just before you get alarmed, what the town is doing in terms of cleanup and remediation is going to alleviate some of the problem. It's not the solution, but it will alleviate some of the problem for the lower level storms. When we get huge 100-year storms where we're getting 2 inches in 45 minutes or 3 inches, nothing is going to, even after 5 years, nothing is going to be able to handle all that saturation. But don't want people to think nothing's going to happen. There will be some help,
Yeah.
some relief.
And we're doing studies in certain areas. The engineers looked at a whole area where, there's a few residents getting impacted. There are things that we're working on, but, and I heard your resume at the meeting we had at the library. This gentleman's really seen a lot, especially in the other areas he's worked in. When you get some of these storms and you've seen some of the drone pictures, the whole area, it's a pool. And when you look at the FEMA maps, a lot of these areas are meant to flood, right? It's the swelling of the river. And I think you very eloquently, spelled out last time that we've allowed building in a lot of these areas. And that's what we really got to start focusing on next. Maybe removal of structures and reestablishing these areas.
So the question
And elevations.
First of all, I'm really pleased because I feel that if we knew that in 4 or 5 years there's going to be substantial progress, we've been talking about this for decades. So 5 years, and if we could have a timeline and say, this is what we want to do, this is what we hope to accomplish year 1, it's going to be obstruction removal.
I think that
Year
you get in
2.
trouble with that in that there are so many different parties. You've got federal, state, county. So, to put a timeline
No,
can
but
be
I'm
a
thinking
false
if we have
flag.
my feeling, what I would love to see is I think most people recognize that timelines just as a rough draft. It's like an initial, it's an initial step. But I feel that if we say, okay, we're doing this, but the next step is going to be coming up with a capital plan to do more. During the first, but we want people to realize that there's a lot of steps, so we have to do the bidding. That could take, maybe the design of a capital project could take a year. Then we go to the Army Corps, that could be another
And
year.
that's why I said.
you follow
it's
what I'm
a
saying?
Yeah, I did, because I recommended it, so
Yeah,
it's a proposed.
I'm just repeating you,
I
what you said.
appreciate you, but it's just a proposed timeline. Things could change, but we need to make sure everyone understands what all the steps are.
Yep.
So that's why I'm just saying, so to your point, things will change, so if we know that we have an application process with DEC, or we know we have application in with the state, or wherever, we just need to make sure that at least everyone understands what the process is. That's all that is. So,
And then if
We can talk around timelines and we all hope, let me backtrack and say that I can't imagine buying a home for your family and then having the utmost anxiety every time there's a forecast for rain. So my heart goes out to that neighborhood. But I know everyone here feels the same. But let's take a beat and let Dean just started. You know, we fought for his position for over a year, and he just started, and he's a bit inundated because, as he said, or
Excuse
someone
the pun.
said, yeah, please do, that, our infrastructure and systems and drainage and storm drainage were not built for the storms and the effects of our planet currently. So, but as far as this particular area, there is a capital project already on the books. So let us meet with the rest of planning to talk about BP 40 and see if the plans still relate to current conditions and if it just needs an influx of funding and that could make a major difference, or if we have to go all, more major projects that require all these different entities and permitting. And we'll circle back.
okay. So
When do you think we'd have like a better idea of what like a draft like capital budget plan? Because I also feel if we know that we have to spend, in an ideal world, this is how much it's going to cost, and then and right now we're lucky because the Assemblywoman Shimsky's committed to this. The county's committed, the town's committed, so everybody's on the same page. We all want to see if we could resolve this. And I sort of feel that if we just had as Gina said, like a plan.
I'm confident we can get back to you after we review BP 40 by the end of October, and then we can go from there.
And, if in conjunction, what we can do is when we have something that we've done, okay, so the plans were just released for 30% design, for instance. We can keep the residents informed that those things are happening, and that might be a helpful way to handle it.
I'm sort of wondering, let's say we tentatively said, the week of November 12th or the week of November 19th. Those are, because you said you'll have more information by the end of October. So let's say we say November 12th to November 19th, we would come back, here, and then we could come up with by then, also the town board will be looking at our budget and the county is looking at the budget. And this way, if we have to add funds to a proposed budget, we could do that. So I sort of think that, would that be okay with you?
Absolutely.
So would you prefer, November 12th? When's Thanksgiving? It's
28th.
So do you want to do the November 20th, which gives us, more than a little extra, breathing room in case this gives you a little more time?
Sure.
I am spinning through my calendar as fast as I can.
Right, it's November, we'll make it November 19th at 5:30.
that's our next, okay, so someone's gonna send out,
Is that okay?
need a request.
That should work.
No, I think this is great.
And I
Yeah,
gotta
just
say,
make sure to have Fulton Park.
Right.
Yeah.
Make sure everyone will be,
Yeah. Yeah.
unless
Should
you-
we have Fulton Park beforehand
We
and?
could,
and then-
I'm sure they've had some discussions. We should have them review what discussion tonight, and then whatever questions comes out of that, then I'm sure the person who's leading that can get in contact with the county and states.
Yeah.
I have one question and a few observations I'd like to make before we wrap up. First of all, which jurisdiction is responsible for enforcing against the illegal dumping?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that, Assemblywoman Shimsky. We just, the Solid Waste Commission is the responsible department, and we also just passed a bill last night beefing up our illegal dumping on county properties. So As I said, I spoke to the Commissioner of Solid Waste, and they are well aware of the situation in the area. So I expect.
Did you plan
So
that?
would that be county?
Yes, that's
Thank you.
county. That's county. And another part of the fencing is to incorporate or replace, I think they were there to begin with, illegal dumping signs.
Well, that's excellent. My observations are as follows. In order to keep body and soul together in that neighborhood until such time as capital projects are able to be done, it's going to be important to keep up with the cleaning of all of the culverts and the drains and so on. Of course, you're going to have to, you may need more than one truck, Rich, because we are having increasing problems in many parts of the town, but it only works if we keep it clear. So hopefully that will not pose too much of a problem. I am glad to hear in terms of the existing planning documents. I know that some people may be a little sanguine as to what you can do with planning documents that are a number of years old, especially all of the changes that have taken place in recent years. But I'm glad that there's going to be a fairly expedited examination to see exactly where we are. And maybe, if we're lucky, we can move up that 4 to 5 year time. You and I will have a conversation offline, and we'll talk about Ashford Avenue bridging this process. We might be able to at least get a little bit of time off around the margins.
I have one question. So would it be, I mean, I don't know how staffed you are to take care of all the cleanups. It's a lot, right? So can we get any help staff-wise from county with cleanup?
Well, as far as the culvert at Perpendicular Old Kensico Road, that's already in the works. So DEF has a contractor that cleaned up the culvert, and they'll have a maintenance schedule. I just have to review it. I don't know if it's every 2 months or every 3 months.
I think what you're talking about is past there, like the trees, like the sawmill, where, MaryJane, you were with us 13 years ago, boots on the ground, walking up and down the sawmill after one of those storms. That's very intensive. That's something and we will certainly work with county staffing, the Parks Department, to get in there and pull out anything as a team effort. Absolutely.
Yeah, the trees and the debris dams, when they're allowed to form over time, end up being major projects, just like we had in late 2011 along the sawmill. But if you're able to keep up with it on a regular basis, each individual time that you go out is not quite as bad.
It's like painting a bridge, right? Mm-hmm. You get to the end of it, you're working your way back again. That's the same thing with these rivers. Unfortunately, a lot of them have been let lie, and then there's other developments that go into them, adding to the problem. So I think, and in my years of doing this, the response from the county has been excellent. I think we could work through it. I think the most important thing is everybody knows the problem. There's a plan in place to try to address the problem. And on the maintenance end, we have to work towards a real solution, how to keep that going.
I have a question also. You referenced a couple of times development, which has caused an issue, paving parking lots, so forth. Are there recommendations within your purview to make of what kind of, whether it's diversion that we are requiring developers to make to help with the flood remediation, to beef up our laws that might improve that situation, those situations going forward? Is that something that you can and would do?
So the plan for that is for it to be part of BPL 26. So when the funds are accepted by you, there'll be ordinances as a part of that package that should be accepted, or that have to be accepted to get the money.
Well, good, because that will help us, because certainly I'm sure that our laws and ordinances are outdated it is something that we need to look at. And with your help, we can help improve that going forward. Thank you.
Should the town be partnering with the county and state to see if we could get, some grants, there's a lot of funds from the state now that's available for flood, mitigation. I'm wondering if, if we should be trying to apply for some additional grants that could help us do
Yes.
more for this.
Yes. Apply to everything you can, and I'm
Right.
here to assist
Would you
wherever I
have-
can.
Would you be able to maybe before the November 19th meeting, give us some recommendations, what you think would be like an appropriate grant application to apply for? Because if we, you have more expertise, you have a lot of expertise in addressing these problems, and if we basically are all partnering together and we're applying for the funds, then we might be able to actually make a really big impact in solving this problem.
Yeah, if you give me, I don't know, 2 people from the town to work with directly on flood issues, then I can work with them. I have 53 grants I've vetted so far that can work within the county, I work within the local municipalities, so.
Sorry.
You sitting right next to him. You're sitting right next to him. These 2 gentlemen right here. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
and I
You're
yeah,
disappointed.
I think who's on the line, Garrett Duquesne, really is.
We can add him as a third resource.
He's
yes.
got excellent expertise. The gentleman's got more grants for the town, I think, than we care to mention.
And if everybody's working together, all the different levels of government, our chances of getting a grant are going to be much better, and the chances of really making a real major impact in solving the problem will be much better. So I think this is really, great.
And my office will be willing to work with the town to provide whatever support we can to help get programs that I am not directly in control of.
I think it's important just to mention, and it was said once before, your department's brand new.
It's just me.
Right, so they have a lot of work, and I'm sure they're getting it from every possible angle. So it's gonna take some time to build up what you need, and so, but
He's
If
ready
we
for the
work
challenge.
together, then it'll go a lot quicker.
yeah, absolutely.
You know the towns, you know these areas. I'm new to Westchester,
Yeah.
so the more you tell me, the quicker we can move.
We'll give you the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah.
I think it's really wonderful, and I am really appreciative of the different levels of government working together. That really is the only way to go. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Thank you,
Thank you for
everyone.
your-
Have a great evening. Thank you.
So we'll see everybody November 19th.
Thank you very much.